animated texture to look like hair and dust across your animations. So I'm going to click my new composition button here, 1920 by 1080, 24 frames, 10 seconds, or whatever duration yours is. Everyone good so far? We're going to do a solid because we don't need a shape for this. So layer, new solid. Okay, color's not going to be important here because of the effect. I'm just naming this noise just so I know what it is. Naming your layers is fun and helpful. So in my effects, if I type in noise, we've got fractal noise, turbulent noise. I think we can make do with fractal noise for this. I'm going to throw fractal noise on that solid. Here's some of the ways to get that flickering grain look we were doing earlier. Your main things to look at are contrast, brightness. If you twirl down transform, there's uniform scaling. So we could scale it up and down. You could also explore with the drop downs. We might do better with threads for the hair, but we'll find out. We're gonna play around. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crank up my contrast and I'll lower my brightness. Yeah, I did 307 and minus 132. So I just did that to see less of the image, you know, and scale. If I scale it down, now I'm going to see a little bit more of that noise. And I can adjust my brightness to make the noise, like the dirt specks, bigger or smaller. And now I can start playing with my contrast also to make it more pronounced or less pronounced. It depends on how intense you want that noise to be. So for me, I did a contrast of 376, a brightness of minus 160, and a uniform scale of 22 to get this look so far. I just adjusted the brightness of the contrast to see less of the noise, and then I scaled it down so I can have more tiny little specks. Our trouble last time was with the blending mode. Check this out. There's an invert box. If I click that on, that's not going to help us out. All right, so we'll ignore that. Let's, just for the fun of it, change our fractal type. See how we're getting some wildly different looks? So I'm going to do dynamic twist for mine, just for the fun of it. And noise type, I'm going to change it to linear. I'm going to adjust my brightness a little bit more. I'm happy with that. That's what my noise is going to look like. Dynamic twist, linear, contrast 416, brightness minus 161, scale 22. Now complexity, let's see if I knock this down to 3. My noise got bigger. So I'm going to do 8. My noise got a little smaller. I'm going to take it back down to 6 because the more complex, the more longer it's going to take. I actually like this distressed look here. Here's what gave it life. I'm going to just show you composition settings. I'm at 24 frames, okay? So the wiggle is going to be your frame count, all right? Evolution, I'm going to hold down Alt or Option while I click that stopwatch, and I'm going to do wiggle, double click to complete it. My frame rate is 24, so I'm going to type in 24 times a second. So every frame, it's going to be moving, okay? Now, the amount, that's going to be how much you want this moving. If I do 100, now remember, you got to click out of your expression. If I hit the spacebar to preview, that's not moving that much. You know what I mean? That looks a little weird. So I'm going to try 300. That's moving a little bit better. So let me try 500. That's very very heavy, okay? So my noise is working. So now I can say, all right, do I want to see more or less of it? And then I just adjust my brightness and contrast. So if I lower my brightness and up the contrast, now I can preview it again until I've got the flicker I want. I'm pretty happy with that. I'd say, do I want to see more or less of it? At which point I would adjust. There we go. Now I'm starting to get the look I want. I did 375 at -182, and I'm happy with that, okay? That's our dust, okay? If I want to add something extra, we could just duplicate this layer. So I've got my layer selected in my timeline, because remember, when we duplicate something, what you've got selected, where you've got selected is how it's going to be duplicated. So now let's look at that hair. I'm going to try strings for a second, and no, I'm not liking the strings. Let's try threads. Not liking that. I'm going to keep it where it was with our dynamic twist, okay? With me so far? I'm going to brighten it up a little so we can see what we're doing. Now's where I'm going to say I want it to look more like hair. So I'm going to go to my transform. I'm going to turn off the uniform scale. I can increase the height. Narrow down the width to make it look a little more hair-like. That's what we've got so far. I can make it even thinner. There we go. And I can make it even taller. Did you click off uniform scale? Yeah. Okay, I'll be over to take a look at it. 1 second. And the final thing, I put a turbulent displace on that hair layer. So I'll call this one hair. And I'll call the one below it dust, so I don't have any questions about what's what. And I'm seeing a little bit too much of the hair, so I'm going to start dialing in my settings at this point. Yeah, no problem. 1 second. My dust is fine. There we go. That's better. So I'm going to look at Brandon's. I will take a look. Okay, so a quick note. If you double click on a layer, you're going to open it in the layer panel, not your composition. So I click the X to get out of it. I'm back in my composition. So to get the squiggly hair look, I threw Turbulent Displace on the hair layer. Since it's moving, it's automatically going to have that Turbulent Displace added as it moves. I adjusted my brightness and contrast to get the amount of hair showing that I wanted. Now, reminder, my hair layer, I changed the blending mode. Here's my switches. I click switches and modes to get to it. There's my modes. The top layer I changed to screen, so the black is removed and you can see the dust below it. So now I've got my hair with the screen blending mode, so I can see through it and see the dust behind it. You gotta remember that step. The top layer puts screen on the blending mode, so the black is removed and you see the white below it, okay? Nah, I kept it the way it is. Like, you could do whatever you want. So I'll explain that. If I twirl down my fractal, so now I'm just seeing Turbulent Displace, I can start adjusting it however much I want. Like, let's say right about there. So I did 222 and 34. See what that looked like? So we're seeing a little bit more of the hair because of that. Screen will remove black and show white. That's why you can see the dust through my hair layer. So you guys can dial in your looks, because remember, it's the brightness, the contrast, and the scale, okay? And If you want, you can adjust your turbulent displace as you see fit. Now we're going to finish this off. You ready? So I've got my main animation. So I'm going to make a new comp called main animation. And in my main, I'll give it a background color. New solid. I'll stick with this light blue. Everyone got that idea so far? Here's my main animation. The background's blue. And here is my noise pre-comp. I'm going to drag it above the solid. Make sense? Yeah. Now, remember, if I do screen, the black is removed and my hair and the dust is white, okay? So I'm going to try an invert on that layer now. No, that wasn't it. It was, let's see. Yeah, I'll do invert and then let's try multiply. Let's see if that fixes it. That did it. Okay, so I'll explain that. Can everyone see how my dust is black and my hair is black now? The way I want it? Invert. Let's get rid of this blending mode first. Invert turned my black background white and my white noise to black, okay? So that's what I wanted. Everyone got that so far? That's what invert did. Here's what it looks like without it. See it? Black background, white noise and hair. Invert made it a white background with black noise and hair. Got that so far? That's what invert did. Since that invert did that, that means we no longer want screen to remove black and show white. We want multiply to remove white and show black. So now it's going to function properly over whatever you have over top of it. Yes?
Do light leaks.
Light leaks, you can do light leaks. 1 second. Let's take this up a notch real fast, and then we'll do light leaks 1 second. So let's pretend I got a circle. I'm going to make it a solid fill with no stroke. Okay, that makes sense. And I'll just call this circle. So remember, alpha matte, the mask goes over your face. So if I've got my circle, the size I want it and the position I want it over top of that noise, I can go to the layer below, over to my track matte, choose alpha matte. I'll duplicate that circle because I need to see it. And I'll put it below. There we go. I had to duplicate it to see it and put it below my noise layer. So now you're only seeing that noise and hair inside that circle. So you can use this effect with an alpha matte if you wanted. Now, here's a reminder. This is my main animation. I'm going to duplicate it in the project panel so I can come up with a different look for it, okay? So Command D in my project panel, there's main animation 2. I can get rid of that circle now and delete. So look, here's main animation 1 with the noise inside my alpha matte. Here's main animation 2 with the noise throughout the whole thing. Make sense? This is how you can get creative and try different looks. Duplicate your sequence in the project panel, rename it, and adjust it in the timeline. Got it? So you talked about light leaks, right? Canvas. Got it? Files, R class. Art 228 virtual, all slides and art files. That's how we got here, okay? I'll show you one more time. So we're in Canvas, there's files, Art 228 virtual, all slides and art files, all right? In here, so check this out, you guys. We've got a folder called Leaders and Light Leaks. We've also got light leaks and lens flares. This is for you guys to mess around with and push your ideas. So I'll show you the difference between each. I'm going to open the leaders and light leaks, and I'll download this, and I'll download leaders 03, okay? So I've got 1 light leaks and I've got 1 leaders. Now I'm gonna go to the other folder, and I'm gonna do it a lot slower because I don't wanna be moving fast. I wanna be going slow tonight. I'm gonna try blue orb shine transition. And then I'm I'm going to try flare number 15 and full screen 22. I don't know what any of these look like. I'm just downloading them randomly, and we'll talk about them. All right, so that's just a different art. So if you want to watch this part, you can. All right, so everyone see where I got that? You know, there are folders that I've already got for you guys that have light leaks, lens flares, and leaders. All right, let's talk about what those are. Here we go. I'm going to bring them all in. Downloads, I believe is where they went. Yes, I want to give permission. All right, and here they are in my downloads. Perfect. And I'm going to hit open. We'll let those import. Then I'm going to save. Everyone with me so far? Now, when you're bringing in a video clip or a rendered animation, if you drag it directly to the new composition button, it'll be the same size, the same frame rate, and the same duration. So it automatically sets the thing up for you. So I did that just so I could hit the spacebar and preview this. All right, see that? That's an example of a light leak, okay? All right, got it. So what we're gonna do is we'll go to main animation 2. Here's that pre-comp we made of it. I'll throw it over top of my noise and our blending mode. Let's do screen to remove black. So now we're only seeing the light element. So that's our light leak going over that. Does that make sense to everybody? If that's too strong, I'm going to hit T for transparency. I'll go to the brightest part, knock down the transparency a bit. Still got the transparency, and I've tamed down that light leak. Everyone good there? I'm going to hit the eyeball to hide it. That was the first one. Now we're going to go to leaders. I'm going to drag that to a pre-comp to see what it is. These are what leaders are. You've seen them at the beginning of old films. Yep. So that's our leaders. All right. And I can just scrub through to get to a part I like. Let's pretend I want here. So right here from the number 12. Here's our recap. Everyone ready? Page up and down on our extended keyboard. Page up is taking us back a frame. Page down goes forward a frame. Okay. Let's say I want to start on exactly this frame right here. Now we're getting back into our layer management. If I hold down Alt or Option and I hit the square bracket next to the letter P, that's going to be my in. So what that looks like, that's this key. This is my out. So in point, out point. All right. So if that's where I want to start, I hit the square bracket right here. That looks like the start of that layer. It's going in that direction. All right. And let's say we want it to stop right here. So I'm going to do the bracket that looks like the end, the out point. So that's Alt and I got to have it selected. I hold down Alt and I hit that bracket. So there's my in point and there's my out point. Everyone good there? I'm going to hide that layer. So I'm going to copy this, go back to my main animation, paste it. Now, the layer did not start where I want it to, so I hit the square bracket. That was that one. If you only hit that bracket key, you'll snap that layer to start there. So let me demonstrate. So here's my playhead. If I hit the square bracket, just that key, it's going to snap that layer there. Got it? So I'm going to snap it to the beginning with that bracket key. I'm not hitting Alt or Option. Here's my leader. And we're going to get rid of, let's try the screen. Let's try multiply. It's going to be one of those two. Multiply, we're seeing that through it. Let's try screen. And that's what screen's doing. So screen is keeping the hair and the dust that we animated. Got it? So that's the difference between those two blending modes for that. That was our leader. Now let's see this light leak. I'm going to drag it to a new precomp. See that? This is going to be the same deal. We're going to go to a spot we like. So I'm going to use my page up and page down. And let's say here. So again, this top one is our in point, the bottom one is our out point. Got it? So if I hold down Alt and I click that in point, it's going to snap me here. I'll scrub through with my playhead. That's when you drag it by hand to the next black part. All right. Whereas I'm going to hit Alt and then my out point. So here's my in point. Here's my out point. Everyone got that? All right, beautiful. So I'm going to copy this. Go to my animation 2. Let's say we want it to start here. All right. So I'm going to paste it. See how it's over here? I'm going to just hit that square bracket to snap it. Okay. That's this square bracket is to snap, not Alt and that, just that square bracket. And here comes our light leak. All right. Light leak. We want to get rid of the black. So we're going to do screen. So as the light leak comes on, see it right there? There's our light leak. If you want to tone down the intensity, just lower the opacity. And it also helps to trim your layer to where it actually starts. So I just changed my in point a little bit. There's a light leak. You can still see the dust. You can still see the hair. There we go, like such. All right, everyone good with that? Your different blending modes, plus, like I said, your layer changing your in point. That's for in point, Alt, plus that key. Flare 15, go drag that to a, all right. That's a lens flare with some lens texture and dust on it. Everyone see that? Good? All right. So I'm going to keep this pre-composed just because I'm lazy. Go drag that, put it on top. We want to get rid of the black, so it's either going to be screen or multiply. I think it's screen. Boom. Let's hide the other lens flare behind it. Let's hide. We're going to keep our noise. Here's our flare. Let's test it out. See if we're right. Yep. See, now we're starting to see that texture and the flare happening. We could do screen, or we could try add. Let me try add. Add. Okay, so here's the difference between the two. See how it's far more intense? There's add, there's screen, okay? Here's the difference. Screen is going to knock out black and only show white, okay? Add is going to layer the different tones of white on top of each other until they get more intense. So add keeps going brighter and brighter based upon the levels of white in it, all right? To tone that down, same thing, you're going to adjust the opacity. So here's what it looks like with add. More intense. Let's go to screen. You barely see it. It's more subtle. So you can go to add and then adjust your opacity for that layer to get the look you want. Scrub through. And that might be a little too strong. You can still see our stuff. Let's see what happens if I put our noise above it. That may help. That may help in our layer stack. Why is our noise on multiple and alpha? What is this? No track mat. There we go. That was what was messing us up so much. That somehow got that alpha matte put on it somehow. Oh, that was from when I did the shape layer. Remember? So now I can adjust my stuff more accordingly, and we still see everything. All right. So it's all still working. There's flare, full screen 22. Go drag that to a new. This is just a bunch of dust particles, okay? Everyone see that? And I literally mean someone filmed something, I think, and just, no, I don't even think this is real. I think this is just particles, but we got, yeah, this is particles with some depth of field on it. But there's black and there's white, okay? So we already know because we're seasoned pros. I can throw that above, get rid of black, screen. Now I've got those particles flying around, okay? Blending modes again to save the day. Main animation, that's us. There's the noise, and that's all the stuff we downloaded. So there was the fake dust particles that we just changed the blending mode on, light leaks, lens flares, the leader. You know what? Let's say too much is never enough, and let's turn it all on at once, minus that layer that was showing us, and let's see what we got. As the different light elements build up, they're going to get more intense on one another. So we would have to adjust the opacity, but that's adding all those different elements. To push it a bit more, giving it some more visual interest. Any questions on those? All right, and like I said, there's leaders, there's light leaks, there's lens flares. You can all find them in Canvas files, Art 228 Virtual, all files, and they're in there. So you just come around, there's plenty of fun stuff to experiment with. There's also art files, so here's all files. Lives up to its name, I just throw everything in there. Ink videos. I'm gonna randomly pick one, okay? Ink 8, sure, why not, right? All right, sounds like a fun time. Download it. All right, there's Ink 8. I'm going to turn off everything except for our noise, okay? So here's what we got, our color and our noise. Good. I'm going to bring in Ink 8. Hit open. We'll throw it on top. And, okay, it's 2K. Let's go fit. Does it cover the screen? Yep. All right. Now, let's take a look at this. You ready? You looking, Sam? This was drops of ink dropped in water with a white background, okay? So what that means, that noise is driving me up a wall, but hopefully it stops at some point. If this were on green screen and keyed out, we could use it as an alpha matte, but it's not shot that way. It's got the white background. So that means we could use it as a luma matte. So I put it above whatever I want to reveal. Let's do above the color blue. So the noise will be above it. This will be happening. So we got our luma matte. And what this is going to do, oops, wrong layer. This is what we're revealing. Remember, the matte goes over your face. So the luma matte is above what it's revealing. As it gets darker, it's erasing. So what this is doing is black reveals, white conceals. What's that mean? So look right here. That space is negative. That was black. So black is invisible, white is visible here. So white reveals, black conceals on here. So if it's doing the opposite of what we want, all we have to do is, instead of a luma matte, luma inverted matte. So now, where the ink is, it's drawing on. So the inverted did what we wanted there, okay? So we got that working. Here's our noise.
You know, like the end of the real.
That's a film burn. So let me just tie this in real quick. The effect didn't fully animate off. Okay, let's say it was going too slow. If I right click, time stretch. Okay, now duration 13 seconds. So if I go 200 here, it's 26 seconds. So what that means, 200 is half speed because it went twice as long. Watch again. 200, it's 26 duration. 100, it's 13 duration. So if I want it to go faster, I'm going to try 50. Now that means it's double speed. Okay. And look right there. Boom. Ink comes on faster. All right. So that's how you change the film speed to get that working. Now you were talking about film burns. So I'm going to, whoopsie daisy. Animation 2 is where we're messing around with everything. All right, so I'm going to put a black solid over top. Let's go solid, make it black. Hit OK. Now in here, there is an effect called film burn. So we'll try that. It's CC. Oh, look, there's also scratchy film. Okay, but I think that's under text. Oops. All right, so here we are. We'll go scrub with my playhead. Oh, here we go. Burn. So you just animate it. So I'm gonna go backwards. Well, first we're gonna have this go like this, and then we're gonna say from here to there. Let's see what that looks like. So got this. That happens. Then there's our film burn. And yeah, like you were saying, if we duplicate this now, because this is all about reusing what you've got. Black is on top. We want the orange to come in. So I'm going to have the orange be like 1 or 2 frames sooner. Okay. So I just made that a little sooner. To change the color of a solid, you just go layer, solid settings. Let's try a little bit of an orange, like you were saying. Burn color. Okay. Oh. I am not seeing that color yet. Okay, it's actually got to be a little behind it. So right there. So now we're seeing that. So let's try a blending mode on that, just for the fun of it. Our light is looking all right. I think hard light was looking the best. So again, some of that chemical look to it. That's one, okay? That's one way.